What's up, my people, and welcome back to another video. And today's video is an Apex Legends video, but this time we are going to be going over the newest weapon that has came into the game, the Rampage LMG. Look at it. It looks so cool with like those golden streaks, and you got some nice little orange to go with it and some cool gray. I swear, this is probably the best skin for the Rampage, in my personal opinion. It just looks really cool, and you see that phoenix on it. Like, yeah. Okay, anyways, enough of that skin. So basically what this video is going to be, I'm going to be giving a little bit of an overview of the Rampage, and I'm also going to be giving some brief tips for how you could probably use this weapon well. But anyways, let's first kind of get into the overview. Let me, nope, that's wrong grenade. I'll grab that for now. So the Rampage is the newest LMG to be added into the game, start of Season 10, and it is a beast. And it's pretty different from like all the other LMGs. It's more supposed to be used at mid-range. It has the slowest fire rate out of all the LMGs, or pretty much all the full auto weapons in general. Its base mag is 28 bullets. With a level 1 mag, you have 32. With a level 2 mag, you have 34, and with a level 3 and level 4, you have 40 bullets. And with Rampart, like, the ammo capacity is increased, but I'm not really going to be going over that. So the damage with the body shot is 28, and the headshot damage is 42. For a slow firing weapon, it sure does pack a punch and has like a pretty good damage per shot, which makes it really crazy. Its recoil is also really easy to control. So yeah, it's got some pretty easy recoil, although I do think it's a little more of a skillful weapon, as you can't really just go pushing and act all crazy with it. You kind of got to be at a distance if you were to use this weapon effectively. Okay. Also, I really love the iron sights with this thing. Like, I just love those iron sights. Like, I don't necessarily prefer them, but they just look so good. Also, the way you can put a thermite in this thing, which increases the fire rate, which gives it a higher time to kill, and it brings it up to like what the Spitfire would be. And anyways, without like the little overview out of the way, time to give some tips like for the Rampage. So I pretty much already said this, but you want to be using this thing at kind of like a medium range, kind of like about this distance to maybe a little bit further if maybe you have like a Ranger or an AOG. I wouldn't say you probably shouldn't push and go crazy with this weapon unless if you have the thermite, because again with like its slow fire rate, like, you're at a disadvantage if you're going up against someone with, like, an R301 or an R99 or a flatline or anything like that. Its hipfire is pretty good, though. So if you're up close like this, like, try kind of, like, strafing from side to side and hipfiring, as it makes things really trippy, I guess. And it can be really used up close range. With that, I mean, I've done it up close with like the Rampage before and it melted an enemy, but I still don't completely recommend it because, again, like it's more of a mid-range weapon. And you definitely want to be like using it in a mid-range like that, not just push crazy with it. Unless if like enemies are really low and like your aggressive weapon, like if, for example, you have like an R301 and you don't get like them completely down. Like the Rampage, you can easily finish the job with, like if you're up close as personal. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, I guess it's a weapon, really different, really unique in how like you would have to utilize the playstyle. It is not as easy to use as a Spitfire, but it is sure like a pretty neat weapon to learn how to use and get a good hold of it. And the other tip is you should always be on the lookout for thermites. Like, whenever you see a thermite and you're using this weapon, be sure to pick it up. And just whenever like you get up close with enemies, you're going to want to put the thermite into the weapon, rev it up, and go crazy. Again, with like the thermite, that's when you should be going crazy with the Rampage and not being like too aggressive and whatever. So yeah, you can use a thermite at like farther range as well. Like you can pretty much just fry like enemies at a big range of distances, like with this thing. Like, it's a crazy gun. In my opinion, it's one of the more balanced guns to enter. Like, it's a good trade-off, like big DPS for like kind of a little bit of more skill ceiling, but I don't necessarily want to call it a high skill weapon, because it can still be pretty easy to use. Like, you just need to be more careful when using this weapon. And it's a good trade-off. Like, it's not what the Spitfire was, and I don't think it should sink down the Spitfire level. Okay, now anyways, those are pretty much the only tips that I really have to give. Now let's get into some recommended sights. Now, pretty much like all the other like weapon guides I went over, this stuff comes to personal preference, but there are a couple of scopes I really recommend you use, which would either be the 2 to 4 times variable AOG, or the 3 times Ranger, or the Bruiser. I really like using the 3 times Ranger on this, because it really fits in with like how the Rampage should be used at a little more of a distance. And since it doesn't really have much recoil, it really matches up well with the Ranger. Also, the Bruiser can work well if you're like a little more of an aggressive player. It can also help with like more mid-range or longer range combat. Oh my god. What is wrong with my aim? I know like not many people I think use like the AOG. But like, in case if you prefer it, like it works really well with the Rampage in my opinion. Well, like all the other scopes do work well with the Rampage. It's just like the longer range ones work better since it like fits the playstyle more. But if you're always on the lookout for a thermite, always putting it in to the Rampage, maybe like the 1-time scopes work well for you. Again, it's basically personal preference, but I recommend the 3 times and the 2 times Bruiser like out of all the scopes, pretty much. Well, that's not what I wanted to remove. Okay, now with like the recommended sights out of the way, let's now go over like what weapons this could really work well with. And there's a lot of options. I think the shotguns would definitely work well with it. Like if you're like at a longer range, you can take like a Peacekeeper and like you get an enemy low and you're a little bit closer by, like shotgun can help finish that off. You could always go like double LMG, take a devotion. I feel like the SMGs, assault rifles, and I do think the other LMGs work well with the Rampage as well. The L-Star, I think can be really good with the Rampage. Probably one of the better loadouts this season, to be honest. Especially with the changes that the L-Star has gotten. The Bolt can definitely work really well, since like you can use this as an aggressive weapon to like go in with. And like I said earlier, run out of bullets for this thing, and they're low. Rampage can help finish the job with like its hip fire. Double Rampage would be really interesting. Wingman could go pretty well with it. And with like the new boosted loader hop-up, I think that would probably be perfect. I don't know. I don't completely recommend using it with the 30-30 because both of them kind of have a similar purpose. Unless if you're using the 30-30 with shatter caps. Prowler, I think, would work well with Rampage. Again, aggressive weapon and mid-range weapon. Hemlock might go well, but like both of them kind of like serve a similar purpose, so I don't really know. Oh, whoops. Flatline could work as well. You could use this as your aggressive weapon, and the Rampage is your mid-range to long-range weapon. Light weapons, RE45, it's not really a meta weapon, so I don't completely recommend it, but if you're devoted to it, then you can use it. I don't recommend with P2020 because P2020 is weak. R301, I think I was just using it earlier, so I think it could work well. R99, a Rampage, could definitely work well as well. G7 and the Rampage kind of serve a kind of similar purpose, not exactly, but yeah, if you want to use the Rampage like a little more aggressively, like it could work as well with the 30-30 or the G7. Like but you would have to be using it as your aggressive weapon, not your mid-range weapon. And if you're using it as your Rampage is your aggressive weapon, you could probably pick up Sniper as well. I'd recommend the longbow because I feel like it's the best sniper in the game as of now. I think with the Spitfire in this thing, it would be a really deadly combo. And maybe the alternator as well. It would go crazily with the alternator. Like if you're using the triple take as your longer range weapon, then the Rampage would be your aggressive one. Same if you're using the Kraber, and the same if you're using the Bocek compound bow. And yeah, that's pretty much like all the loadouts like I could probably see or recommend, which is pretty much a wide range of weapons. I see a lot of potential with loadouts, honestly. If there were any specific legends that you'd probably want to use, like definitely it's like a weapon that kind of caters to you, like kind of being a little more stationary and going from one point to another while fighting enemies. Like Rampart's obviously a good choice if you're wanting to use this weapon, but I don't really like, other than that, like it's more based off of playstyle, not what legend you're playing. I don't even know why I'm trying to include that, but anyways, yeah. Guess you could have some good aim while you're on top of a gravity lift, then it works really well. But anyways, I think that's gonna be all for this little overview and tips and whatever. I just wanted to kind of like give my thoughts on the Rampage and whatever, I guess. I don't really necessarily think it needs a nerf. Like it could probably use a tiny nerf because the mag sizes are a little weird in my opinion. But I wouldn't necessarily think of it as a nerf, a little more of a tweak, I guess. I think its damage is decent. I just feel like it's a good trade-off weapon. Like, new powerful LMG, slower fire rate, it's meant to be used at more mid-range. You need to think more when using it. Different from the Spitfire, and I like how it's like that again. But anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts on Spitfire and the tips I can give for using it. I personally really enjoy using this weapon. I think it's a really fun gun to use, really powerful. And yeah, I hope you enjoy using it too. And that's going to be all for this video, so if you did enjoy, be sure to give the video a like, and if you're brand new here to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Also, I have a Discord server, link will be in the description, and if you have Guilded and are looking for any servers to join, I have a Guilded server as well, so I'll leave links down in the description too. Also, be sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/3LNEX, and yeah, once again, that's going to be all for today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are about the Rampage in the comment section, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.